Welcome. Conversations with TNathan. You know what time it is. Let's get it. Let's get it.
You lower your shields and prepare to be boarded. Prepare to be slaughtered. Prepare to be targeted. You can't fuck with my heart and shit. Yeah, this is lights out. For my brothers, get your whole fam wiped out. For my fam, get your whole universe destroyed. Take your face off, cast Detroit. I'm a disaster boy, extinction level asteroid. Impact is smashing noise, born in the blackest void. He talk shit, he ain't know who he's facing. I cheese grade him, get savage, that's the TNathan. No patience like they shut down the hospital. Wins against me, it's not possible, not probable. Man, it's all illogical. I've been sick, this shit is chronicle. Hands we hold them, the face shows how we fold them. Y'all keep making noise trying to get noticed. Y'all can't see me, you got no focus. I show up, they disappear. Hocus pocus. This is war, no respect. When your pores come to sweat. When I call on Artie from 41 Select. Target select, target acquisition. When them shells rain down, you look like a bad car collision. Come get it, come with it. I beat him into submission or play it safe and hit him from some distance. Long range, close range, however I deliver. Shit you gonna remember, I go for kill shots, it's not to injure.
What's up? What's up? Greetings, salutations, and welcome to June, July the 2nd. I put July the 2nd up there. Uh, July the 2nd, second series of shows from TNathan Conversations with here on GCPR Network. How you all doing? How y'all doing? All right. Well, I told you, tonight's conversation is going to get to um, things that are going on with Joseph Biden. But before we get there, I wanted to start off with a direct impact of the Supreme Court's decision yesterday on presidential immunity. And a lot of people were talking about the January 6th case and how that would impact the case. I said it. I said it would impact the Manhattan case also. And today, the judge, after the Manhattan DA office said that they didn't have a problem with it either, that the judge has postponed sentencing and Donald Trump's 34 count conviction September the 8th. 18th, September the 18th. Sorry about that. Yeah, the judge has postponed sentencing to September 18th. And why? Why you say? Um, because Donald Trump's team is making motions that, in accordance with the Supreme Court case deciding presidential immunity yesterday, that they're deciding that some of the testimony that was entered was from official source, i.e., the president's Twitter account during the time that he was president, while he was tweeting about hush money payments to Stormy Daniels. You cannot make this up. Literally, because the Supreme Court did not define official and unofficial acts, that leaves the door open for this to take place. So before we can even get to the the trials that are on hold now because of the Supreme Court case, then we are now point where we are dealing with a postponement in sentencing to September the 18th in connection with the 34 convictions that Donald Trump received in connection with the hush money payments to Stormy Daniels. So this is direct input on from this case already. There we have it. Um, so you all can tell the people who are talking about it who don't know what they're talking about that this decision does affect things that are already been in play. Like I say, with this decision, the Trump team has managed to put on pause the Georgia subversion case, the case of classified documents, and the January 6th case, all against former President Trump. So that's where we are with the presidential immunity decision. And that is how it affects the bigger picture. So, and it's going to be more. Like I said, there's going to be more. But just think about this. Um, the bad thing about it for Trump though is the sentencing is going to be pushed out to the 18th of September, and that's going to be mere 6 weeks prior to election day. So it goes from July that it was going to be sentencing, and the American public doesn't have an attention span that is very long. It goes from there to being pushed out to 18th of September. So if he is given any time, it is being the backdrop of the election right around the corner. Yeah. Oh, yes, the Supreme Court has basically given Donald Trump an out on all his criminal charges right now. Um, Most of them will be paused to after the election, and all the federal cases will go away if he wins election, and even the state charges if it's found that if it goes back to a retrial, the retrial is not going to take place to after the election, and if he wins, he won't answer for it anyway. And there we have it. So that is what's going on in that case. Now, let's transition over to the topic that has a lot of people mad with me right now. And that is going to be this topic that we're going to talk about of the Joseph Biden and what he has recently said about his poor performance at the debate. Um, Let me see. There we go. Yeah, there we go. You see that? Joseph Biden today told private donors in a private setting that his poor performance at the debate was and that he almost fell asleep. He said he almost fell asleep at the debate also, and he blamed it on his world travels. He said the world traveling that he had been doing prior to the debate is the reason for his poor performance. And I would like to add into this mix that the trips he's talking about, he took um, 12 days before, 12 days prior to the debate that took place. So 12 days before the debate, he was back home and he took 2 days off to rest. And then he had debate prep for a week. But he's saying that it was about him almost because of his travel. Now, this is the part that has people upset with me. Part that has people upset with me is that I said that the poor performance at the debate that Joseph Biden showed his age. No, nobody liked that. And then let me clear this one out and put that one up. Dun, dun, say his lapses have become increasingly worrisome to people in the know. So not only have these lapses become public, but they are increasingly worrisome to people behind. And if you've been watching the news lately, you have witnessed Democrats are hedging their statements now. Nancy Pelosi said today that everything was on the table and that Biden was the candidate, but they hedged their bet about people getting involved in the election. I listened to several other Democrats who were saying that and hedging their bets, like like Claiborne, and you see it now because the New York Times reporting that people in the inner circle are saying the quiet parts out loud. They are talking about how they've noticed the lapse in his judgment. They've noticed these things over time now. So it's people are mad because say this is a valid conversation that they need to be having. They need to be having this conversation, and especially in the light of the fact that at this moment, an overwhelming majority of voters believe the Democrats would have a better shot if Biden was replaced. if Biden was replaced, and a lot of people are when I make videos or I talk about it, they'll tell me everything that Biden has done and all that's good, and they will get on their high horse and say, "Well, we can't have Donald Trump." And I don't understand this argument that if you all have made up your mind that Donald Trump is not going to be president and you all need to keep him from office, then you could have anybody, any functional adult. And I think another functional adult will be more prone to get some people off the couch that are not going to vote for either of these candidates. What's the problem? What's the problem in having the discussion of who is your plan B in case Joseph Biden decides to step aside? Now, I say this because you all talk about all in my comment section all the time, talk about voting blue, but okay, vote blue. How does that change anything? How does it change anything to vote blue? The blue you're coming up with is say, um, I don't know, let's say Kamala Harris, perhaps. You can have Kamala Harris. Who else I got up lined up here for you? I know who I got. I just wonder if you all like them. You got Gavin Newsom. You got Gavin Newsom as a possibility. You got Gretchen Whitmore from the governor of Michigan, and you got Mayor Pete himself, Pete Buttigieg, that was a presidential candidate in 2020 until South Carolina, and then all the traditionists got behind Joseph Biden because they didn't want Bernie Sanders. So, and this is the thing. I don't understand why do you all not think this is a valid conversation when 75% of registered voters are telling you all that they feel like you all would do better with another candidate. I mean, what is the problem? Why is it that we enter into this conversation with people telling us about what he has done, but we're talking about the next 4 years? We're talking about, and people have reached out and said stupid shit to me, right? And say something like, well, the secession and the vice president, and then they'll look. I don't know about the rest of you all, but my constitution, my copy of the Constitution works quite well. And I actually have read it several times a day. So when you all try to tell me about politics or how government works from somebody who has literally been talking about this online for years or participating in the process of protesting the government for years, spare me your indignation or the attempt to tell me what the line of succession is. I'm not talking about that. I'm not talking really to you people who have dug in and act like cult members also. I'm talking to the if you all are not going to address the 75% of registered voters who are saying, hey, could we do better? And you can. That's the whole thing. You can do better, right? You have candidates that you could still support that would still allow you to do the things you want to do. But you don't want to have that discussion now because you're saying you think the only person that could beat Donald Trump is Joseph Biden. Is that what you are? You have two men running that are extremely unpopular. Joseph Biden's, and I give you some historical perspective. Let me give you a historical perspective. The last presidents that were low, below, and low in the polls and their polling perspective, approval rating that were low when they went into the debate and lower when they came out of debate. Gerald Ford, Jimmy Carter, um, not Ronald Reagan, Gerald Ford, Jimmy Carter, George Bush, um, Trump. and Biden. The last four of them lost the election. They lost the incumbents. The last four incumbents that did so poorly in their debate performance that they lost ground against their opponent, Gerald Ford, Jimmy Carter, uh, Bush, Trump. They lost, right? That's historical perspective. I think if you want to find the time that a incumbent lost ground after the first debate that still won, I want to say you have to go back to mm, Woodrow Woodrow Wilson, maybe even Herbert Hoover. I have to look, but I think it's Woodrow Wilson. I think it's Wilson. But just think how if you have to go back that far. Let me and and that's another thing. I'm glad someone was talking to me about. Someone just made a comment talking about didn't Gavin Newsom say he wasn't interested? So did Kamala Harris. So did Gretchen Whitmore. Everyone who's talking publicly, and this is the thing. This is a thing. It's a good question because it proves how weak-willed and weak-spined Democrats are, and why Republicans politic better than Democrats. Because the question they were asked was not if they would take Biden's place by force, but they said if he stepped down and decided not to run, would you run? And they did the same thing that politicians are notoriously known for. Instead of directly answering the question, they beat around the bush and didn't answer the question and talk about Joe Biden is this and he's our nominee. Well, technically, he's not your nominee until August. Technically, he's not your nominee until August, until the convention there in Chicago. But you're going to talk about some historical parallels also involved with that. But no, Joe Biden is not your nominee right now until he's nominated at the convention. He's your presumptive nominee, just like Donald Trump is the presumptive nominee of the Republican Party. But people don't want to have this discussion, and the Democrats don't want to face it head on. They don't want to face it head on. And that is problematic. The problematic thing is that you all don't want to talk about realistic plan B. Greetings to everybody who just joining me. Um, Thank you for supporting my podcast and the radio station. Thank you for supporting the shows on GCPR network. And you will get a chance to follow us. Link in bio. There's some fantastic shows also on the network. So, and I'm proud to be a part of the network. All right. So, this is the conversation. This is the conversation tonight we're having. And a lot of people don't like that I have it. But in spite of that, so I want some feedback. I want some feedback from you all about what are your thoughts? What are your thoughts on dun, 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 that up? Your thoughts on presidency? Democrats. You have this large swath of people that don't like either candidate, and you may have a chance to motivate them off the couch if you switch candidates. Why is your base so threatened by the idea of switching to any responsible adult? If you're saying that you all think democracy is in such danger and you could put somebody in there, what's the problem? What's the problem with a Kamala Harris presidency? Oh, I know what the problem is, but I want to see how many people who will acknowledge that it's a problem between her and Gretchen Whitmore from Michigan. I just want somebody to tell me. I want somebody to explain to me what's the problem. If you are all running around all the time saying vote blue, what is the problem? Any Democrat is blue, right? Any of them. And as far as national recognition, I think when I hear people talk about, well, they don't know who they are nationally. If you're running for president in this country from a major party, um, you got the news is going to cover it, And if you don't know who's running for president from the major parties in this country when you go to vote, then you probably shouldn't be voting. Yeah, I said it. You probably shouldn't be voting. And then I get people tell me stuff like, well, he's not going to have to run a marathon. And, he deluding yourselves. You all are deluding yourselves. And I'm going to be here to tell you deluding yourselves when the chickens come home to roost on this. Because I'm going out there on a limb and saying that if you all don't do something before the convention, you're not going to be happy afterwards. You're not going to be happy afterwards. And I think it's very telling that you know the Democratic National Convention this year is in dun, Chicago. Chicago. The Democratic National Convention and nominating ceremony is going to be in Chicago this year. Um, and why is that interesting? Can anybody tell me why I think that is so interesting? And if you guessed, because the last brokered convention that was held in 1957. Last Democratic brokered convention that was held in Chicago too in 1957 and 52. 57, 52. Just in case I said 57. 1952. So is but also for the record, both the Republican and Democratic convention of 1952 were brokered conventions. Yes, just well, it's a possibility that history could truly repeat itself this year in the face of that the brokered convention will take place this year. But I know people don't like when I point that out. We'll go back and we'll be nice. Be nice. Probably not. I was told I didn't have to be nice. So back to the fact that I'm waiting for somebody to tell me what the problem is. I'm waiting for somebody to tell me that if this is your stance that you all are going to vote blue because Donald Trump is such a threat to the democracy, why does it have to be Joe Biden? Why does it have to be Joe Biden? Because I think you all are making this binary choice when we speak out against the problems we saw on that debate stage and what staffers are saying, and then watching politicians hedge their bet, and you all are acting like we're the problem. Well, that's 75% of the registered voters are saying this. So some of you all are delusional. Some of y'all are delusional. And this is the problem with the Democratic Party, is that they act like nobody understands this whole system like they do. Like a certain, it's just like on this app or on social media when I see people talking and you ask a question and they'll act like they know how government works, and you're listening to them, you say, you really don't know how government works, do you? They'll be having these, and I'm gonna tell you, as much as we say that MAGA supporters are cult-like in their behavior, I'm gonna tell you, in the last and since the debate, I'm gonna say that there's a lot of extreme vote bluers that are cult members also. Too late to change. Change to whom? See, that's the point. People are saying it's too late to change, but I don't understand that. If 75% of registered voters are telling you all that you would do better with anybody but Biden, you all are not thinking. You all are only thinking of this one thing. You all are so focused that you're not listening to the evidence, or you're not listening to people talking to you. You act like this is such a big deal. It's not a big deal. Like I just showed you, the last brokered convention took place in 1952 in Chicago, the same place that the Democratic convention will be taking place this year. And the thing is, it's like, to whom? You got several choices. You got Kamala Harris, you got Gavin Newsom, you got Gretchen Whitmore, you got Pete Buttigieg, you got all kinds of people that you can pick because I don't understand. Number one, I just think Kamala Harris should just step up. In polling, in polling, she comes within the same margin, if not better, than Joseph Biden does against Donald Trump. I don't understand. I don't understand what is. Oh, no. Technically, I do understand. I just want somebody to come out and say it. I want you all to just come out and say it that you're not as progressive as you pretend to be, because in the same polling that shows Donald Trump beating Joe Biden and leading him right now by 6 points, it shows Kamala Harris within the same margin of error. Same margin of error. And is she the vice president of the country? It's so hard to understand. It's just a that's the thing I don't understand. Like if you're I don't understand if your aim is to defeat Donald Trump and 75% of registered voters saying, "Hey, could you pick somebody else besides Joe Biden?" Like they're going to vote for him if you all don't give them any choice, but that's not going to motivate the people to get off the couch and go vote. But they're telling you that, "Hey, if you had somebody else, I feel like you would do better." And at this point, you all are not. Oh my goodness. This is hard to believe. This is really hard for me to watch that people are so cultish while calling MAGA's cult members for so long that you get mad when somebody criticizes the performance of your candidate because it's a valid concern that he's looked like that. It's a valid concern when staffers are saying that he has looking more and more like this in private, and you all act like nothing's wrong. No, any candidate does not lose Joseph Biden's lead because if you're how is that possible? So you're saying what you all are saying is that you have no faith in no other candidate, that you all will be the ones who had to get behind. You would have to be the one to get behind. You all have no faith in no other candidate that you would have to get behind. Because why, what is it about Joseph Biden that has you all so enamored that you don't look at the polls? I'm telling you, go look for yourself if you don't believe me. Look at how Kamala Harris matches up against Donald Trump within the same margin for error that Joe Biden does. But I know what it is. She's a woman of color. And even some of you all just don't want to admit it. Some of you all that happen to be black don't want to admit that that's the problem also. Because I can't understand it. I can't understand why you all are trying to ram Joseph Biden down our throat when you have so many other options. That all they require is your support. And if we're going to break this down by demographics, if we're going to break it down by demographics, my answer is to the people that were asking me that, probably not. Probably not because they're not committed. If your commitment is to making sure Donald Trump doesn't become president, then it shouldn't matter what. So what you're telling me that if something happened to Joseph Biden, not saying it, if something happened to Joseph Biden right now before the nomination process, you all would just give up the election and go home. You wouldn't have a plan. You wouldn't have a plan. You would just give up and go home, right? Because what is that? What you're telling? Is that what you all are saying? Because that's what it sounds like you're saying. It sounds like you all saying you all have no plan. You all sound like you all beating Donald Trump is not your primary objective. Is that it? Think about it. Now, if your objective are all these people running around in my comment section like black women didn't save the democracy in 2020, if all of you all running around talking about vote blue, you mean a certain shade of blue is all you're willing to vote for. A certain gender blue. That's what you're telling me then. Because it shouldn't matter. It shouldn't matter if your objective, if so many of you all are just overwhelmingly ready to get rid of Donald Trump, why not bring along those people who don't like either candidate? Why do you all change? If you all are willing to get rid of Donald Trump, why don't you all join with the people who are not going to vote for either candidate and give them someone that they can get behind also? Yeah, I don't understand. Somebody tell me that. Somebody, does that not make sense? The never Trumpers and the never the never Joe Biden. Y'all act like these people don't exist. You act like there are people who are not happy with our policies that they focalize through Joe Biden dealing with Israel. Acting like those people, and you all act like y'all don't live in a country where you know perception matters. No matter what reality might be, perception matters in this culture. And you act like you all don't know that. So his appearances matter. You can come up with all the intellectual arguments about what he's done. He didn't answer the question. None of you might say, well, and then when you deflect from the conversation I'm having, talking about Donald Trump is Donald Trumping. The Republicans are over there doing their thing. The Democrats are not doing what they need to do to beat Donald Trump, and that is to bring along all these people who say they are for making sure he doesn't get in office and saying, how do we reach the people that are never Trump or don't like Biden? There's a large, in case you all missed it, I hate to break it to you all. There are a large percentage of people in this country that are going to stay home because they can't support either candidate in good faith. Do you all understand this is not the matchup that anybody was looking for except cult members on both sides? Nobody was looking for this matchup. And you all knew it was coming for the last 2.5 years. It's not like they just sprung this on you all. But see, that's the thing. For those who don't vote, that I, I don't know. I guess I find it frustrating because I'm trying to help you all and y'all don't want help. I'm trying to help you and you don't want help because it's not that these people are not registered to vote. The people that are at protests that I'm with at protests protesting for free Palestine, their votes. They vote. And they're telling you they're not going to vote for somebody who supported genocide. They're not going to vote for Donald Trump either. Maybe because I'm at the protest with them and you all don't y'all not. But they vote. They are that you can't be that committed to your country's what your country's doing in its health and not vote. These people are registered voters, and they're telling you that they are not going to vote for Joe Biden and or Donald Trump. Yeah. They can't. I'm gonna tell you who I can depend on. I know a lot of my mother's friends, or my grandmother's friends. As a matter of fact, Miss Osceola is 92 years old, and I was talking to her on the phone the other day, and I was actually talking about Project 2025 to her. We were laughing about it because she was like, "Came of age at a time when I couldn't even vote in this country. I came of age in the time when I was a sharecropper. She came up in Jim Crow. She says Project 2025 doesn't scare her. She was an educator, by the way, graduated from Alcorn University. Go sister. She graduated from Alcorn University. She was just like my grandmother and my mother were both educators. And she told me, she says, no, we were talking about Project 2025, and I was explaining to her. She's like, yeah, I read it and I sent it to her because, And she said, I read through it. I said, I came to the same conclusion you did, T. Nathan, that it's nothing different than what some of us have been going through since 1619 in this country. She was not scared of Project 2025. She wasn't scared of it because she's lived it. She wasn't scared of it. So that's not a good talking point. You think that they're scared, that these older black people are scared by anything you're saying that they have lived through. I don't know who you think our ancestors were, but at the end of the day, and we talk about democracy and the Constitution and all these things. Like, number one, like I tell you all, my copy works just as well as you all's, probably better because I actually read it. But I'm saying this because you all are ignoring these people in your quest to put front and center boogeyman. A lot of people, a lot of people out here talking about Project 2025. I will listen to them, and I will talk about a certain part of Project 2025, and they couldn't tell me if I'm talking about a part in Project 2025 or not. They can't. Y'all scared of something you haven't even read. Y'all sound like Christians that haven't read the Bible. Yeah. So I just I don't understand this attachment to this idea. It's giving me white savior because at the end of the day, if you all feel the same way, if your motive is to get rid of Trump, then why would those people not vote for the candidate that your party put forth? Why would they not? Especially Kamala Harris, because she has been there through everything you were saying that Joseph Biden has done. I know y'all don't know what Kamala Harris do because y'all don't really follow her, but she has done the same things in heels, walking every plan, every accomplishment. She has got on the campaign trail. She has been on the trail. She knows it. She's the vice president, for God's sake. She knows it. It's a part of, and for the HBCUs, she the one to put it in his ear. He didn't think of that on his own. Yeah, I don't know. It's people ask. I just see I'm on a radio show also, so it's like you saying, well, why haven't I addressed anything? I'm trying to read comments from several different angles. So if you want to, just repeat your comment. I'll get to it when I get to it, but I have to read it over the air so people will know what I'm commenting to. So try that on for size. Some of you all get out your feelings. I'm running multiple platforms and a radio show here. So unless you're, if you're on the platform I'm looking at the time, comments are scrolling fast. If you don't want to put it in there again, I don't know what to tell you. But if you want me to respond to it, maybe take several times until I get it. Get out your feelings. So you can, I don't know. I can depend on those people I'm protesting with. I don't know what protest y'all protesting with, but I can depend on those people. The college students I'm protesting with, the students that turn out to protest. Yeah, I can depend on them. I can depend on them more than I can some of these people who say things and don't. I see Jazz. I see you there. It's not white savior. It's weekend at Bernie's. Jazz said it's not white savior. It's weekend at Bernie's. We prop up the one who gets in, or we should be getting in the one. We should be getting the one in who props us up. It's a possibility. That's what I say. It's at inflection points like this within this country that I look at and I was like, that was that was a point. I look at back in history and I say, that was a point you all should have done this. And this is one of those points right now. This is one of those points right now. And I'm always gonna say, shout out to my grandmother. Shout out to grandmother. I love you, grandmother. Thank you for all your support. Your grandmother there for you when everybody else is like pretending to be there for you. My grandmother always shows up. My grandmother, my bestie, they show up, and I appreciate them. People like Jazz, and y'all don't know who I'm talking about, but they knew who I'm talking about. They show up. Thank you for showing up, and that's why I get frustrated because I want to have these conversations so we can navigate. Historical perspective is, this is that point. Uh, I can't. I mean, I leave thug life out either. My little nephew, he always there for me too. Yeah. Um. And okay, I got a statement. Emerald Soul says, "My wonder is if Kamala Harris steps up, how many Democrats will glitch from not seeing a white male?" Thank you. See, Emerald Soul just said what I've been waiting for somebody to say. See, this is not the hypocrisy is being proven because if this was about defeating Donald Trump by any means necessary, or maybe I'm the one who thinks only think by any means necessary means that if 75% of registered voters are telling us this, Joe Biden should step aside and do what he's supposed to have done the first term and anoint the next generation of leadership. See, that is the thing, and I ran into the same thing in the NAACP. So I'm not sitting here saying I ran into the same thing in NAACP. That these people's egos get in the way of them not understanding their usefulness. Is we're not taking anything away from what you have done, but the future it needs to be thought about. We need to be thinking about. And Jazz raised that point in passing also, and that's my thing. See, either because I'm tired of doing this without y'all see Bella? Y'all see Bella? I didn't know y'all could see Bella. I just see Bella in the corner. Yeah. Come here, baby. Yeah, this is Bella. This is my baby. Yeah. Yeah. That's my baby. I didn't know that. Y'all can't see her in Radio Land. I have a purebred boxer, and that's my baby. All right, but anyway, you go to sleep. All right. Anyway, but that's what I want to. I want someone to acknowledge that this is not about beating Donald Trump at any cost, because y'all could y'all could. Jazz said hello, Bella, and so did grandmother, and so did Thug. They said hello. Thug called you cute. Thug Life called you cute. But that's what it's missing. And I want you all to see this because I want people to understand, especially marginalized groups of people, that it is all about. I want you to understand this is why I tell you we have to extract promises and then force them to keep these promises. Because if you're going to put Weekend at Bernie's in office, if that's what you all are committed to, if you would rather put Weekend at Bernie's in office than saying what is the next generation of leadership coming from, and why can't we take this opportunity to say if you all are so committed to making sure Donald Trump is not back in office, why can't we put Kamala Harris in? Why can't those same people that are so committed and then reach out to those people who are not going to vote for Joe Biden and say, "Hey, we'll switch up. We'll take Kamala Harris." And how does that switch anything? She keeps the same kind of cabinet members he's had. She keeps the same policies in place. Yeah, yeah. Well, why doesn't that work? Because we have to acknowledge racism. Y'all know I was gonna get to it. It just took me 44 minutes to get there because we have to acknowledge it. We have to acknowledge that we're misogynist racist because Kamala Harris, even though I don't agree with Kamala Harris on every policy she's ever done, but I don't disagree with her any more than I have disagreements with Joe Biden. Yeah, Trent. And for the people who said that Kamala Harris put more black people, it amazes me. Yeah, the Klan killed more black people than anybody, but hey, that's a whole nother conversation, I guess. But those people, you all are already talking about Joe Biden. So I might as well say I don't have any more problem with Kamala Harris than I already have with Joe Biden. But I also don't. I realize I have a much bigger problem with Donald Trump. But if I can't criticize the process, then I might as well call y'all cult members and call it a day. Because isn't it part of the reason we say we're not cult members is because we can look objectively at the process and say, "Hey, we can do better." And right, and there are people in the comment sections that are talking about, black women. They never put a black woman in. Right, they won't put a white woman in right now either. Gretchen, Gretchen Whitmore, and Gretchen Whitmore, when word got back that she was on the short list of they were talking about, and she came out and said, "No, I'm not interested." The question is, if I know you all missed the if Joseph Biden stepped down, would you seek the office? Not that's the question. What is it about That's one thing you're gonna get ready. When I have politicians on the show, it's gonna be confrontational because I'm gonna ask them the same question over and over till they answer it, or I'm gonna drop them. You can have a discourse with me after you answer the question. The question is if. The question I'm asking you all is not because y'all don't like me to say when. So I'm saying if Joseph Biden steps down, if the donors put enough pressure on him, if he look at the same stats with 75% of the voting public saying that they rather him anybody but him. If any of that happens, who's on your short list? Who's on your short list? Yeah. Yeah, who's on your short list? Who's on your short list? Paul? Because you all are you're supporting Weekend at Bernie's. And for some reason, you think you can't do better than that. And I want to know why you think you can't do better than that. And if you acknowledge that you can't do better than that because he's a white man, then you all have a lot of problems to deal with, regardless of who gets in office on November the 5th. We need, I don't know if I don't know if I have any moderators on all of my accounts. On my TikTok account, any moderators over there? But yeah, this is a conversation that you all need to have. And okay, all right, I'm good then. Chief of Security is holding it down. This is a conversation you all need to understand. I got so many people. I'm glad you over there. I don't have to pray. I'm glad you over there, Don. What's up, Chief of Security? Because I got like 100 people over here, and I can't keep up with all the streams because they're all over the place. But anyway, that's what you all are missing. This is a conversation you all need to have. Y'all need to have this conversation, and you need to have it honestly and truly, because some of you all are missing it. Hold on for just a minute. Testing, testing, testing. Mm. Mm, mm, mm. Oh, just a minute. Yeah, yeah. Okay, I'm back. Hear me? All right. I just didn't see the bars moving. I was wondering if I had any sound. If I had any sound. All right. So that's the conversation you all need to have. That's the conversation we need to talk about. These things matter. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Well, people talk, and this is, when people talk about Kamala Harris, sometimes they try to make especially when they say things like, she put more black people in. They're trying to make appeal to our blackness. And, and you and no intelligent black person is falling for your rudimentary appeal to our blackness, especially when you are just trying to manipulate it. Yes, we know who she is, but we also know Joe Biden helped author the crime bill, 94 crime bill. So yeah, mm, yeah, the crime bill that a lot of the black caucus supported at the time. that had detrimental effects on some black communities. Yeah, we know all that, but we also understand that this is it's not a binary choice. It doesn't have to be, but it's a binary party choice. And if we are going to stand by and say, if those are the things that precluding us, then yeah, get here. Get here. Yeah, all right. Anyway, and all of you all who all have these, you know, personal stories to tell, you still can't appeal to our blackness. We understand the assignment. Black women understood the assignment in 2020, and I can't understand. I would really hunt some of y'all down when y'all be telling black women to vote blue. And I could put the stats up. I had stats. Um, we're not the ones you have to tell to vote blue, by the way. We're not even right now, the course of this conversation, it's not that we won't show up for the candidate against Donald Trump. It's that you all won't. It's not it's not that we won't show up, it's that you all will not show up. So what's the problem? You all really fighting to save democracy or just your status quo existence? As much as I hate watching some of my people sometimes talk about democracy that wasn't written for us in mind, they do it. They do it. So spare me, spare me, really just spare me. Tonight, we're also going to watch on my main page, I think if I can get away with it, Chicago 7, for those of y'all who go with the Chicago 7 trial, the trial of the Chicago 7. I'm going to stream that tonight in the after hour. We got about 9 minutes. So I'm going to stream that. I don't know where I'm gonna stream it at. I'm gonna try to stream it on my main TikTok page and probably on my Twitch channel because I can't stream it on YouTube. I can't stream it on YouTube. YouTube doesn't take too kindly to me streaming bootleg movies. But yeah, you can catch me on my Twitch stream, the trial of the Chicago 7. Um, try to do it on my main page too, if I can get away with it. But hey, that explains that we see who our enemy is. We see the fact that even in the course, people want our help conditionally when they have no commitment to the long term needs that we have. They have none. Mhm. So there it is. I said it. I said it and I stand by it. That if you all are committed to voting blue to stop Donald Trump from being in office, then any of the top Democratic candidates um, should be willing to support, starting with Kamala Harris. Starting, not ending with, starting. She is qualified. Polling numbers look better than any of the other people I mentioned against Donald Trump. They look slightly better than Biden's. And she doesn't come with that same baggage of supporting genocide, even though, it's the administration. But it doesn't. So why wouldn't you all reach out to those people who are telling you all that? Because there's more of them telling you that than there's enough of you all willing to mm, hold up weekend at Bernie's. Jazz said that, and I'm stuck on it now. I have this image in my mind. I have this image of my mind, right? And I'm willing to go out there. I'm saying that there's a high possibility that you are going to find out August. If you don't start talking about it now, you're going to find out in August that the rift in the Democratic Party is going to get deeper. It's going to get deeper. It's going to get deeper because it started off privately, but it's too many private sessions leaking out right now. There are too many private statements coming out right now. So, New York Times, y'all might not like the New York Times reporting, but it's legit. It's legit. So, you might want to take that into account. So, that is, we had a good conversation. Any questions across the comment section? Any questions you all want to ask? I got about 4 minutes before I have to relinquish the station to somebody else. I have to relinquish it, and then we can continue the conversation. I can go to my main page, and we can continue this conversation if you all would like to. If this is a conversation you would like to have, or you're interested in having, we can do that. We can definitely do that. In fact, need to. Dun, dun, dun. I like my setup. Oh, on the screen behind me, that's the movie I want to play if I can get away with it. If I can get away with it, what's the worst thing that can happen? They can suspend my account again. Um, but so chief of security, Jazz, anybody, anything before we go, we get out of here that you all want. We're broadcasting. We're hitting Europe too, so I'm hitting Europe. I'm trying to extend my reach into Africa. I'm really excited about the opportunity that our shotcast and the GPC, the GCPR network, we can reach. It's not good night. It's just a transition. It's not good night. Like I say, I got three minutes before I have to let this go, and I was answering any questions that anybody might have across platforms or might text into me before we get out here. But we're going to transition to do an after party. I think I will be here Monday through Friday on 10 to 11 Central Standard Time, 11 to 12 Eastern Standard Time on the GCPR network. But on Fridays, I'm thinking about extending an hour on my platforms also. So we get into a wrap up of what we talked about for the week, and we'll take an extra hour and do that on Fridays also. But yeah. And it's like I see a question and they're talking in my comment section about policies. Yeah, I want to know what policies you all are so enamored with that Donald Trump wrote. what po- has what name a policy that Donald Trump has ever written? Yeah. Name a policy that Donald Trump has ever written. Please don't make the mistake of asking me any policies that Joe Biden wrote. Please don't make that mistake. From senator to president to vice president, Joe Biden has literally penned policies. Whatever his issues, my issues with him now at 81. Um, I know. And then people were like, well, Joe Biden is. I was like, I'm 57 years old. I have been alive as long as Joe Biden has been in politics. Yeah. So don't play. This is not an indictment of that. This is just about the future and our opportunity into the future. So don't play with me. Yeah. And keep your analysis of your constitutional. It's like you'll meet these people. According to the Constitution, you ain't never read the Constitution a day in your life. Yeah. So also, we take this time. Dun dun dun. If you want to support the work we do here at helping those who happen to be homeless, or to see the work we do in our community and around and helping people, um, Cash App right there. You can also become a subscriber on any of my pages. The subscription helps us do things, reach out to the community. We also can have the funds necessary to help. So there's the Cash App. There's the Cash App. Oh, there it is. So there it is. And we get more out of that than we get out of gifts. So thank you. Give me a couple of minutes to transition out of here, and I'll be over on, you want to join us for the after party, come on over to the underscore Savage Lokius on TikTok. Come on over there and join the after party, and let's have some more